Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our latest mastermind with Kendra Lantzman and Brandy Wolf, both agents at West in Maine. Thank you for joining us, Kendra and Brandy. How are you?
Great. It's great to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, doing great. I'm representing 2021 and doing a Zoom from my car.
Love it. Love it. Love it. So both of you are agents at West in Maine. Brandy, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you specialize in.
So I grew up around home construction. My dad is a custom home builder in the Colorado foothills, A.D. Wolf Custom Homes. And I grew up, helping him clean up his construction sites and bringing meals to his clients as their first meal in their new home. So I think I learned from my parents pretty quickly, my dad's work ethic and then my mom's warmth and care for these people, who became clients eventually for my father. I think I kind of gained that yin and yang from both of them. And so now I really, really focus on relationship-based work. And my whole philosophy is about serving my clients, because for me, when I was newer in the business and looking at how many transactions I had and how much money I was making, it started to get really boring. It just doesn't hold my attention. And so I've really, really grounded myself in the relationships I create with my clients and how I'm serving them in their lives. And my whole business pretty much is referral based. I have done open houses. That has not been successful for me. But when I meet with clients and, they are referred to me, I would say I probably get to work with at least 98% of them. So my meetings are kind of a strong point for me, getting people on the phone. And I've just been very blessed that past clients, friends, and family have referred me my business.
Awesome. What about you, Kendra?
So I got into real estate from my grandmother, who was a Southern Belle and a realtor for her retirement career. And at 16, they needed a receptionist at her local real estate company. So I started there setting showings and answering phones and all of that. And then my 3 of the top producing agents in the office asked if I wanted to be their assistant. And some of them are still in the industry today, which is super fun. And so really, I'm blessed because I got to learn the business from the inside out, I always say, because I saw the files and the paperwork and the transactions before I met the clients. And I agree with Brandy. I think the relationship is such an important part that you just, blend that in. This is a huge transaction for people. And I think I'm always just kind of in awe of how we get to affect people's lives in their biggest purchase. Ultimately, in a lot of cases, their biggest asset. And so I work with equal buyers and sellers. I don't really have a preference one over the other. I'm native to Arvada, born and raised there. So I do a lot of business there. Northwest Denver Metro is really my main market, and serving anything from first-time home buyers to empty nesters. I love everything in between.
It's great. Well, you mentioned biggest asset, which leads me to your very, very creative marketing that you do. One of the things is your podcast, Biggest Asset. Can you tell me about it?
So I think Kendra will not mind me sharing this story, but I was like, Kendra, I really want to do a podcast. And she was like, absolutely not. I am so busy. I do not have time for one more thing on my plate. No way. And then she called me later and was like, I'm sorry. I've thought about this. And, I think I would like to do it. She's like, and when she makes a decision, Kendra is all in.
Yeah.
That's what I love about her. And so we went all in at the beginning of this year with our podcast, Biggest Asset. And it really revolves around kind of education, helping people understand different processes of the buying and selling, and also maintaining a home. Our upcoming episode is with an inspector, and all we're talking about is the 4 seasons and how do you maintain your home during those 4 seasons, because both Kendra and I have seen that if you do not maintain your biggest asset with, regular filter replacements for your furnace, just checkups on certain systems and things like that, you can literally lose hundreds of thousands of dollars in the sale of your home. Hundreds of thousands. I have experienced that with sellers who have not maintained their homes, and it's really sad. And so we want to educate people in this next episode about how do you, if you can't, do a full kitchen remodel, and add a $60,000 value to your home in a year, well, you can still do that through maintenance. So it runs the gamut, and I'll turn it over to Kendra now.
Yeah, it's been a really fun project. I'll be honest, it's not a lot of work. It's just, you just have to be, consistency is key, right? That's what we hear all the time in real estate. So the recording, Brandy and I don't buffer, we don't stop. If we have a mess up, we just keep on going.
Yeah.
There is a little bit of post-production editing, but the whole goal was, we don't want to take a bunch of time. We want to be our true authentic selves and attract the clients that are going to align with who we are, and get to share some knowledge and talk to the vendors that we love and have really established good relationships with. And it has been a fun project. I've loved every single minute of it.
Yeah. Well, Kendra, I have to tell you, right now is a perfect example of you doing this from in your car. I think that you just set the bar when it comes to really being able to do it all. You're one of the top producing realtors in Denver. You're a mom, you're going a million miles an hour, and you own it. And you say, my podcast might not be perfect, and it's not supposed to be. You
Right.
Also, I was watching, you have a Facebook Live that you do, and I watched your first one, and you said, okay, guys, I can't promise you that my kids aren't going to come out. I can't promise you that there's not going to be a, truck or a car alarm or whatever, but this is what we got. And here's what I have to tell you. And as a listener, how fortunate are people to say, I got this great advice from one of the top agents in Denver. And it's just so easy. You make it so easy for yourself and for the listener to view it online or in their car.
Thank you. Sorry, I had to decline a phone call. I am really excited about this Storytime project, and we've only launched 1 week. I plan to go live again this Sunday. It was really hard as a realtor, finding one time a week that's going to be consistent that I can get on a Zoom. How do I know that? I don't know. Sometimes I'm working at 11 o'clock on a Friday night, or 7 a.m. in the morning, or Sundays, or, you just never know. So I picked 8 a.m. on Sunday, as unsexy as that is. But I just thought, if we can just have a cup of coffee on my patio, I want to tell the stories behind these transactions. All of my friends who are not in real estate, that's their favorite part of hanging out with me, I'm pretty sure, is you'll never guess what happened. Or, if I have a big win, we get my buyers under contract on an off-market property right now in this crazy market, I want to share those things, because it's not about me, it's about them. This is their life and their move. And I'm fortunate enough to get to be part of their story. But I just thought, you know what, I'm going to come as I am, makeup sometimes, maybe, maybe not, a cup of coffee on the patio, and just kind of share what goes on behind the scenes, because that's so much of what we do. So I'm really excited about it. We've only done 1 week because last weekend was Mother's Day and I had my mom over for brunch, so I didn't go live that day. But this weekend, I'm excited to get back to it.
Yeah, and I would assume that as someone who is looking to buy a new home right now, with all the challenges, it's probably really great for them to hear these positive stories of people going under contract and how it all happened.
Yeah, so the first one that I shared was a buyer who, we were getting slaughtered, 50,000 over list on everything we looked at. And then on a random Tuesday, there was one house that wasn't awesome. It wasn't the shiny, sparkly, cute one, but it got overlooked completely. And there was no offers. And we were able to jump in at list price with full inspection, full appraisal rights. And as a first-time home buyer, they are beyond thrilled, because they're like, now I can make this house my own. And I'm not paying a bunch of money for appraisal gap, and I'm not waiving my inspection. And so it was a feel-good story. And I'm going to share some that aren't, but I think it is important just to know that there are wins and losses. And I don't know, it's kind of fun.
That's great.
And speaking to your point, Elise, I will piggyback on. So I've worked with Kendra. She started out as my real estate mentor. She still is my mentor and always will be until we're 100. I'll be like, I need to call my mentor, Kendra. She is, I sent her a voice text yesterday. We talk a lot, and I was like, thank you for being there. She was at a meeting with me yesterday, and I said, thank you for being there. You are the mother of real estate. So thank you for being there with me. And I believe she is. She's so intuitive. And what I love about Kendra and learning from her is that, like you said, she is, really about walking the walk. And like when she commits to doing something, she's going to do it, whether or not it's perfect. And that includes, our podcast, and includes like everything. I just love how she puts her entire dedicated effort into something when she's got a million things going on, and she has 3 kids, and she has a husband and a family, and she does all of this because she's willing to not be perfect, putting it out there. And
Yes.
I think it turns out perfect because of her approach. But
So do I.
anyway, I've learned a lot from Kendra.
It
Yes.
makes you
You guys are too
relatable,
sweet.
right?
Aw.
Like when you're on social media, you want to be able to relate with the people that you're watching. I think it's the people that put things on social media that they're like, look at me, and like bragging, and they want it to be perfect, and they just want to look at their accomplishments and put them out there. That's not relatable. So if you can show up and willing to be non-perfect and vulnerable, like I think it actually makes people like you more, Kendra. So I applaud you for being able to show up imperfect out and put yourself out there and just be the real you. It's really cool.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much. You're so sweet.
So do you have any other secrets to your success that you can share with us? Any creative marketing things that you or that we haven't talked about yet? Anything special that you do? I noticed that on YouTube, I think I was looking at, and there were a couple of walkthroughs of homes, which I thought was great, with people not, in some cases, being able to get to showings.
Yeah, I will talk to that for a brief second. And the Real Estate Commission is changing their tune on that a little bit. They don't love the idea of us doing tours and not giving credit to the listing agent, which was not my intent. And I haven't gotten in trouble or anything, but they have come out and said, if you're posting tours of homes, you really should have the seller's permission. And so now when I do it, I will reach out to the listing agent and say, hey, I've got an out of town buyer, or I want to go preview this property. But FaceTime is great, an option if you've got somebody that's not local or can't make a showing until you go to the basement and you have no service and nobody can see anything. And then also when, this is a huge purchase, and I just had a young couple relocate here from Seattle, and they were not able to be here. And so everything we did was online, and they're looking at spending, $500,000 on their first property. They were super nervous about it. So I said, let's do these tours and host them on YouTube, and I'll switch it to private where only them can see with access to the link for privacy for the seller. But what it offers them is an ability for the 30 days we're in escrow to go back and revisit the tour of the house. Like, oh, where is the laundry? Is there a wall right there? Could I put a coat hook? Could I make it a mudroom closet? Whereas if I just do it one time on FaceTime, that's it. That's like never there. And so the YouTube I like because it is evergreen content. And I've had buyers tell me, I'm saving this, to my computer, this link, and I'm accessing it multiple times during the transaction. So I think it's something that agents can leverage with proper permission.
Yeah, it's a great idea.
And then also, so answering your question, Elise, of, what are our other secrets? I mean, I think first and foremost, Kendra and I would both say relationships, right? Connection. Number 2, it's actually like really caring about our clients' best interests and always guiding them toward that, so that, I have talked people out of buying homes that I don't think are right for them, or that I think have glaring issues that they want to overlook because they are desperate for a home.
Right.
It's always keeping the relationship intact. And Kendra taught me that too. She's like, don't worry about this home. Don't worry about this closing. Like, you need to look out for the client's interest, and like the relationship will sustain and you'll get paid eventually,
Right.
which is so true. One thing Kendra and I do together is we farm a neighborhood. And Kendra farms a neighborhood on her own as well. And I know she's reaching a lot of success with that now. She's been doing it like a year and a half. And in our joint neighborhood that we're farming, we've had 2 listings there this year, which has been really great. And we don't typically talk about, our success, we talk about the client stories, you
Right.
know, and like, what were the pain points for them? How did we overcome those pain points? I think people care about that. I think I'm in the process of making a new video for my website. And I looked at other realtors' websites, you know, to get ideas. And a lot of the realtors talk about themselves, and there's nothing wrong with that. But, you know, my video is going to be centered around my philosophy on real estate, how it can serve people's lives, you know, and serve them in their lifetime. And then it's going to be, you know, other people talking about, not me, but what we faced in the transaction and how we overcame it. So I think that's a little bit of Kendra and I's success, even talking to clients. Like when we go into listing appointments, we don't go on and on about our history. And Kendra could, because she's had 21 years in this business. And I think, Kendra, you've sold over 600 homes, if that's right. Maybe more,
Yeah.
maybe 700 now. But we talk about them and we ask questions. And I think that's a little piece of our success, you know, in relating to people is really, my mom always taught me, get into their space. You know,
Yeah.
if you want something from someone, whether it's a city planner or it's a grocer, I mean, you ask them about them and get them to talk about themselves. And people, when they, you know, when you give them the opportunity, they love it. And people, one quote I always remember is, people will not remember the things you said to them, but they will remember how you made them feel.
Yeah.
And so I always want to affect my clients in a really positive way so that they remember, wow, that was really fun. And that's what I get from my buyers is, you know, wow, everyone told us this was going to be so stressful, but like, it was really fun, you know? And so, I mean, and that's hard in this market.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so I think that's a little piece of our success too, is just focusing on the client experience.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Both of
I
you are
always-
so sweet. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, it's okay. I've told Brandy and I've told a few other agents in my office. I think real estate, I think realtors try to come from an authentic place when they're posting, you know, these are all the homes I've sold last year and all of that. I think real estate is hard and getting paid is hard and getting to the closing table. It is not for the faint of heart. So we're quick to kind of toot our own horn, but also you're constantly looking for the next deal. You're constantly, I call it chasing the carrot. But I just try to think, I don't know why, but I always think of my dentist, like how gross would it be if he was like 38 crowns this week? You know, it's just like, I don't want to know that. I don't care. Just when I come in, are you prepared to do mine correctly and like not, you know, charge me an arm and a leg? And so I just kind of keep that in the back of my mind. And I think the more it's about them, people are more drawn to that, more attracted to that. The other thing in our farm, I'll just kind of break down the brass tacks of, we focus on market trends. So every month it's like, here's the average price for your neighborhood and the average days on market that it took to get those sold. And here's the ones that sold. And that's really all it is. But the marketing behind it, and I have to accredit this to Weston, Maine, is so trendy and so cute and clean that people want to pick up that piece of mail. It doesn't look like, you know, our branded colors and a house icon from clip art, and it looks pretty. Like you would want to put it on the fridge. That's what Stacy Staub, our founder, says. Like, I want our marketing to be art. And I think they nail that really well. And then, so we do that every month. And then in my farm, I've been doing it about 2 years. We host the community garage sale. Last fall, I brought in a really great vintage truck and photographer and offered free Christmas photos for the families. And then I did a crazy marketing packet last year where everybody got a real estate review, similar to like a ninja method of, here's what your house is worth, here's what all of the homes in your neighborhood have done this year. And then I created these little pictures of houses, and it's like a map with a heart where their house is. And then it was like established in the year they bought. It almost killed me to do that project, but I have a listing right now. And when I walked in, she showed me the picture was framed in her living room of her house. And she's like, this moment, I think it was the first thing I ever got from you. And it was so different than what other realtors were doing. I framed it and put it in my house. And that's why you're here today.
Oh,
So speaking to that's their house, it's their story. And, you know, when was it established? When did they buy? And so that was affirmation for me of the touches that I'm doing. I'm trying to be really meaningful and helpful, and not just like mark a box.
Right.
Love that.
Yeah, that's really, really cool. Well, it's very clear why the two of you just experienced so much success. I know that both of you are some of our team's favorites to work with. You're just so nice and fun, and it's clear why clients like working with you and spending time with you, and
Thank you.
really doing a great job.
Well, and I'll
It's fun.
just kind of add on to that point that you're making. I have dealt with a lot of agents on the other side who get angry and they get a little nasty. I can say honestly, I've never gone there in my career. It's always professional, right? So being sweet, you want to be firm when you're negotiating, absolutely. But to maintain professionalism in this industry, especially right now when everyone's so stressed out, I think is of utmost importance. And I have established relationships with realtors who, when I contact them with a new buyer and say, my buyer's interested in your home, we did this past transaction together. And they say, it went so smoothly, I would love to work with you, and I will tell the seller.
Yeah,
You know,
That's
that means
awesome.
something. It's not just about maintaining relationships with clients, it's about maintaining relationships with your fellow professionals.
right.
Really is.
It's
Very
very
valid.
good.
Well, ladies, thank you so much for supporting us today and just putting, we'd like to just showcase what you're doing because it's so creative and you're both so successful. So we really appreciate you taking the time in your car, Kendra and Brandy. Thanks for joining us on this beautiful Friday, and keep being rock stars. You guys are the best.
Thank you. Now
Fun.
I have to go find more buyers because Jessica got them all under contract.
You go get
Bye.
them.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.